Vice President Kamala Harris will be taking point on the growing border crisis. President Biden made that announcement earlier today after blaming his predecessor for causing the migrant surge by cutting funding intended to help improve living conditions in Central America. Vice President Harris has also previously placed the blame on Mr. Trump's policies and was very outspoken about them during the former president's term.
Babies are being put in cages and children separated from their parents in the name of border security. Justice for immigrants is on the ballot.
What is happening with the detention of these children, the circumstances by which they arrived, is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government.
When we have children being housed in cages, crying for their mommies and daddies, we know we are better than this.
Joining us now to talk about what's happening at the border is Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas. Representative, we know you're very busy. We appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. This word, cages, has become sort of a loaded political word. But are the conditions not the same today as they were then?
Well, look, keep in mind that the Border Patrol takes care of the kids at the very beginning. Health and Human Services is a different agency. That's totally different. Border Patrol is supposed to keep them there for 72 hours. I think the cages, what people call cages, were really chain linked because Border Patrol stations were set up to handle male adults, and they had to separate the kids, the families from the adults itself. Now what we have in Donlon, for example, is we have plastic, but it's still separation as the pictures that you see there. But keep in mind, we're still seeing some of the same things. Why is it that we got some young girls at Donlon that have been there more than 20 days when they're supposed to be there only 72 hours, 3 days? And that's because there's no space for them at the Health and Human Services that I hope they move there rather quickly.
So the White House delegation toured that facility, a new facility on the Texas border. That's other news that broke today where some of these kids are going to be held. Is that an improvement and is it enough?
Well, keep in mind, the pictures that I have was from Border Patrol facilities. We went to a different facility, which is Health and Human Services. Totally different. Border Patrol facilities are not meant to keep kids there, even though right now I found out that there are some girls that have been there for over 20 days when they're supposed to be there 72 hours. So two different type of facilities. We saw the back end, which is Health and Human Services.
Should the president have changed all that he did as quickly as he did? Even his supporters concede that he should have seen this coming.
Yes, they should be anticipated. We saw this under President Obama in 2014. We saw it under President Trump in 2019. My advice to them, let's move cautiously. Let's move cautiously. For example, they wanted to get rid of Title 42. But guess what? Title 42 is very helpful right now to make sure that we return 83% of the crossers. That's the males or the single adults. Imagine if we did not have Title 42 and the male adults were coming into the United States. Very different story.
Can you clarify for us what happened in the last year, in 2020, of the Trump administration? Were unaccompanied minors allowed in or were they all turned back?
Well, they were returned, but keep in mind this is that people need to understand this did not happen on January 20th. If you look at the numbers, they started rising back in August, September, and especially October, November, December, January under President Trump. But when you add a different type of messaging from the new president, and when you get rid of some of the policies, yes, that's going to accelerate. And remember, we're not in the peak months. We got March, April, May, and June. And those are the heavy months. We haven't even faced the heavy months yet.
Let me ask you about that, Congressman, because I understand the humanity argument, but there are people wondering why is it incumbent on the U.S. to take in 15,000, 20,000, 30, 50,000 unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I will say something I haven't said before on TV, and I'll say this. If you want to take care of kids, go to the colonias in my district in South Texas along the border that have third world conditions. They don't have water, sewage, paving, sometimes even no electricity. Those are kids, our own kids. Why not focus on those kids first? But of course, if some kid lands at the border, we are going to take care of them like if they're kids. But if you want to focus on kids, we got kids on the U.S. border called colonias. Colonias. Remember that word.
So yesterday, Mexico's President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador blamed President Biden's policies for the surge in migrants. He said there were expectations that migrants would be better treated under the Biden administration, and that caused Central American and Mexican migrants to think it would be easier to cross the border. So as you mentioned earlier, we've seen these surges. Clearly, the migrants think now is the time, or at least a more sympathetic time, to cross. How do we turn this around, or at least stop this influx and the tide? They're streaming across. We've seen the video and the pictures.
Well, isn't it very telling when the Mexican president calls our president, which I'm a big supporter. I supported President Biden for, I raised money, I campaigned for him. But when the Mexican president calls the American president a migrant president, that tells you a lot. And I think what's happening is, in order to show this more humane approach, different from what President Trump did, separating kids, that was horrible what President Trump did. But in trying to show this humane face, the bad guys, the drug dealers, the organizations are using that to aggressively promote, and bring more people over here. We got to do more with Mexico and with Central America. Otherwise, we're playing defense on the 1 yard line called the U.S. border. And by the way, did you know, I just found out this, that they have released, Border Patrol has released, I thought it was only 150 people, but nearly 2,000 people without a notice to appear. That is almost 2,000 people into the United States on an honor system, unprecedented.
How many more of those do you think might be the case that you haven't heard about?
Well, I get my numbers from the folks on the men and women on the ground, which I have their backs, and that's what they're telling. We have no choice. We have no choice. The facilities in Donlon, which is a Border Patrol facility, is packed. We have to release family units with just biometrics and not even a notice to appear. We have no choice. They have no choice because they're overloaded, and the more people come over, and the faster we process this, it's going to entice more people to come over. My question is, what's the end game? If you think about it, that should be it. What is the end game? How many more are we going to let in? What are we going to do? That's the question we ought to be asking ourselves. And I want to be very supportive of the administration. I stand with the administration 100%, but I think they can do better in this particular issue.
Well, they will be asked for sure at this news conference tomorrow, and one wonders if the optics on appointing the vice president might have been a way to at least give people the idea that there are changes afoot at the border. We'll learn more tomorrow for sure. Listen, Representative Henry Cuellar, again, I know you are very busy. We appreciate your time, and come back and visit again, would you?
Let's do it again. We'll tell Chuck Rocha we'll do it again.
All right, sounds good. I look forward to it. Take care.